مولانا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما وعملا وفقها في الدين يا رب العالمين وألحقنا بعبادك الصالحين. يقول الله عز وجل: يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا قمتم إلى الصلاة فاغسلوا وجوهكم وأيديكم إلى المرافق وامسحوا برؤوسكم وأرجلكم إلى الكعبين وإن كنتم جنبا فاطهروا إلى آخر الآية. Last week we finished off with the hadith regarding Tahiyyatul Wudu. Tahiyyatul Wudu. Bilal radiallahu anhu, his footsteps was heard in Jannah because of this specific action that he used to do constantly. Every single time he used to make the adhan, he always used to do it in the state of wudu. And then he used to pray 2 rakats after that. So this is called the 2 rakats nafal salah of Tahiyyatul Wudu. It's like a greeting for the wudu. Okay, if you want to say it literally. So that was the hadith. So this was a very clear hadith regarding Bilal radiallahu anhu's certification and guarantee of paradise. And not just that, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, Lima sabaqtani, bima sabaqtani. How did you go before me to paradise? If you want to look at it literally, the hadith, subhanallah. So whilst during the lifetime of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he gave the glad tidings to Bilal that you're already in Jannah. I've already seen you in Jannah. I've already heard the footsteps of you in Jannah. Allahu Akbar. So inshallah, every single time we make wudu, we try to perform that 2 rakats, Tahiyyatul Wudu. Tahiyyatul Wudu. Next, we go on to the next chapter, inshallah. Omitting Bismillah deliberately at the time of wudu. قال الإمام أبو بكر بن أبي شيبة أبو بكر بن أبي شيبة رحمه الله: ثبت لنا أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: لا وضوء لمن لم يسم الله كذا قال. Imam Ibn Abi Shayba, Abu Bakr ibn Abi Shayba, was one of the greatest scholars to live in history. He was even greater before, he came way before. He's from the ustads of Imam al-Bukhari. He came before Imam al-Bukhari. He's got one of the biggest compilations. Sheikh Muhammad Awama, our ustad's ustad. My ustad is Mufti Muhammad Bana in South Africa. His ustad is Sheikh Muhammad Awama, that is living in Turkey. One of the greatest muhaddithin of the time of this era in the 21st century. There is no one on the face of the earth that we know on the caliber of hadith that he has reached. Sheikh Muhammad Awama, one of the greatest muhaddithin, Syrian Hanafi muhaddithin in the world. He used to stay in Medina, now he is living in Turkey. Istanbul. Khair inshallah. Here, he's done the tahqiq. So the reason why I mentioned his name is because he's done the sourcing of all the hadiths inside this huge compilation. It's in 26 volumes, by the way. 26 volumes, mujallad. 26 volumes. It's not a small book. And he does every single hadith, he gives it a complete research, a complete thorough research. Allahu Akbar. This is Sheikh Muhammad Awama's level of tahqiq. Allahu Akbar. Allah accept his work and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give him more years. He's very old now. He's over 90. He's way over 90. Probably over 95. Allahu alam. But he's very old and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give him health. He's still in good health. He's still giving us lectures here and there everywhere and small little snippets of ilm. MashaAllah. So these people, after they go, it's very hard to replace such people. Because Sheikh Muhammad Awama, the likes of him, I do not think exist. Simply to put it, I do not think they exist. He's given his entire life to ilm. Entire. And these people, they don't waste a minute. You know, like us, we go to the shops, we go to have a cup of tea, we do this, we do that. Nothing like that. Every single time, either they're reading Quran constantly, either they're doing dhikr constantly, either they've got a book open. Ilm. All the time ilm. Allahu Akbar. This reminds me of another Sheikh, Mufti Taha Karan from South Africa. Wow. Every single place that he goes, anyone that saw him reports that every single place that he goes, he always had a book with him. He was always reading, whether he was inside a car, whether he was inside a coach, whether he was inside a plane, whether he was inside the lesson, whether he was outside the lesson, whether he was relaxing at his break time. Anytime, every time, he always had books with him 24/7. So Sheikh Muhammad, he died maybe last year or the year before. Mufti Taha Karan, Shafi, one of the great Shafi muftis of South Africa, one of the greatest muftis. He's a graduate of Azhar, he's a graduate of Darul Uloom Deoband as well, both. Two in one, the two of the greatest, both. He submerged the Arab and the Indian subcontinent all together. MashaAllah, he's Bahar. He's like an ocean in knowledge. Allahu Akbar. Mufti Muhammad Taha Karan sir. Very great scholar. I didn't have the opportunity to meet him in South Africa whilst I was there. But inshallah, we'll meet him in the next life, inshallah, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us the tawfiq. These ulama, Mufti Ibrahim Dasai as well, another great scholar, produced how many muftis? Thousands and thousands of muftis all around the world. The services that are being taken by all these muftis, the services that have been given by all these websites, the Hanafi muftis everywhere, all around the world, Toronto, New York, Canada, Australia, here in UK, all of these muftis. Mufti Abdurrahman bin Yusuf Mangera, one of the greatest muftis, Zamzam Academy. Who is it by? Mufti Muhammad Mangera. Where did he study? Mufti Ibrahim Dasai. Yeah? Same thing, Mufti Ibn Adam al-Kawthari, very famous. Where did he study? Again, Mufti Ibrahim Dasai from South Africa. All of them, they went to South Africa to polish up. To polish up. Allahu Akbar. So, Allah accepts, there's certain individuals whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts their sincerity. That's it. That's what it is. A person can be way more knowledgeable, but he's not accepted. He can write 1,000,000 books. He's not accepted. That's just how it is. There's many greater people than Imam Nawawi. Many greater people than Imam Nawawi. But why was his acceptance greater than anyone else in the world? No scholar that got appreciation like him in the world. Allah accepted it. Okay, so Abu Bakr ibn Abi Shaybah, one of the greatest works, especially of the Salafus Salihin. If you're a student of knowledge, this is the treasure trove. This is the treasure trove of the Salafus Salihin. Every statement so there's hadiths of Rasulullah, there's the fatwa of the Tabi'een, fatwa of the Atba'u Tabi'een, and sometimes fatwa of the later scholars as well, meaning including the Muhaddithin and the Fuqaha of the 3rd century. So this is literally a treasure trove. It's called Musannaf ibn Abi Shaybah. And Sheikh Muhammad Awama has the greatest tahqiq, the best tahqiq, in 26 volumes in Arabic. قال الإمام أبو بكر ابن أبي شيبة رحمه الله ثبت لنا أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال لا وضوء لمن لم يسمي الله. If you take this literally, then you don't have wudu. You don't have wudu whoever doesn't say Bismillah before starting making wudu. Can you take hadith literally? No. Huh? This is why we study through the understanding of who? The fuqaha. The fuqaha. That's why we follow the 4 madhabs. If you don't follow the 4 madhabs, then we say you're dal mudil. There's no such thing as Quran and hadith. There's no such thing as following Quran and hadith directly. You become dal mudil. You become a deviant yourself and you're deviating others. You're misleading others. Why? Because the true understanding of the Salafus Salihin is within these 4. Is within these 4 madhabs. If you look at and if you research each madhab, it's a madhab, it's not one person. This is the biggest problem that we have in our brains in this day and age. They've put it inside your head that you're understanding the following of a single individual. This is completely wrong. Completely wrong. This is thousands upon thousands. Each madhab has millions of scholars re-editing, redefining, researching again and again and again and again and again until it reached us 1,400 years down the line. Okay? So now for a person to come and say, I follow Quran and Sunnah, I want to go back to the origin, is madness. They've already sorted out everything, top to bottom, A to Z. Now you want to come and restart the whole wheel over again. Where's your sanad? Where's your chain of narration? You don't have one. Because you came out from the forest. You came out from Najd. Do you understand? You don't have a sanad of the Quran because everyone in the sanad is against your aqidah. Everyone in the whole sanad is against your aqidah. There's no single sanad in the world. Challenge to any single Salafi, any single Wahhabi in the world. One single sanad, full of Salafis. There's no such thing. It never existed. Never existed from the 4 corners of the world. So for you to come now from Medina University, get a certification and say, I'm a Shaykhul Islam, learning a couple of words of Arabic in 2 years, astaghfirullah. Seek refuge in the protection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Seek refuge from such a person. It's disgusting for you to call yourself such things. Anyway, this is why we have to follow fuqaha. Otherwise, you're going to be misled. Look at this. La wudu'a liman lam yusammillah. If you take it literally and you don't understand usul, you don't have no clue of what usulul fiqh is. In usulul fiqh, billah, amr comes for amr and nahi. They come for approximately 21 types of things. You can be an order, a command that is given in the Arabic language can be interpreted in 21 different ways. So not only does it only come for wujub, generally it comes from wujub. But if there's other qara'in, if there's other indications that this hadith doesn't mean in the literal form. For example, whoever doesn't pray commits kufr. Why don't we translate that hadith literally? Why? Why don't we translate it literally? If you want to go to true literalism, this is the problem. This is where their methodology goes down the drain. This literalism goes down the drain. It doesn't work. It cannot work. Literalism never. Anyone that came with literalism got completely refuted, like Ibn Hazm. There's a reason why he's not accepted throughout all of history. There's a reason why he got rejected by all the ulama. Okay? Because of his literalism in fiqh. It's blunders. You're going to commit huge blunders. Okay? Khair. Qala la wudu'a liman lam yusammillah. This is regarding recommendation. Rasulullah here is saying, he's encouraging you to say, at the time of wudu, make sure you recite Bismillah. Make sure you recite Bismillah. What does Bismillah mean? Bismillah means B is for isti'ana. Ba is for help, seeking aid, seeking support, seeking aid from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you're seeking help in order for you to be able to perform your ibadah, in order for your wudu to be valid, number one, and in order for you, through that wudu, for your ibadah to be accepted, whether you're reading Quran, whether you're touching Quran, whether you're praying salah, whichever ibadah, whether you're doing tawaf. For tawaf, you need wudu. You need wudu. Without wudu, tawaf is not accepted. Khair, inshallah. So that's the understanding of the hadith, okay? خير. وعن رباح بن عبد الرحمن بن أبي سفيان ابن أبي حويطب عن جدته عن أبيها قال سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم لا وضوء لمن لم يذكر اسم الله. Again, very similar hadith, that a person doesn't have wudu for the person who doesn't say Bismillah, for the person who didn't say Bismillah when starting wudu. So this is a recommendation again, that you should try your best to remember to say Bismillah before you start making wudu. Inshallah. Next, we go on to the virtues of miswaak. Miswaak is something which is extremely important. Many people have seen, astaghfirullah, they put toothpaste on the miswaak. This is quite funny. Why? Because the miswaak itself, the arak tree, the one that is recommended to use as a miswaak, because you can't use any twig from any tree. You can, but generally you shouldn't, because it can be, sometimes some trees are more harmful than, okay? So, but the arak tree, the one that's normally made, the one the miswak is normally made from, that itself has antibacterial properties. If you look at research, scientific research, Allahu Akbar, you'd be amazed at the benefits of the miswak. It lists like 80 different benefits. You go research it, go research it. You'll find much more. Anyway, the point is, the miswak is a sunnah. The sunnah of the miswak cannot be used as an exchange for toothpaste and brush. Look at the amount of harm toothpaste and brush has done to us. Our teeth are already sensitive and they feel like they're going to fall out. So many problems, so many gum issues, so many enamel issues, so many issues that we have with our teeth. Okay, and then we have to go and spend 70 pounds, 80 pounds, 120 pounds sometimes to go and fix it. But back in the days, they used to use charcoal, something natural from the earth. Back in the days, they used to use miswak. They never had issues. Most of them, they never had issues. They could go to 80, 90, 100, 120 sometimes, Pakistanis, mashallah. They could go to 120 and they're only using miswak. A twig from the tree, they're literally using for the whole entirety of their life. Their teeth are well and good. Us, we're suffering. So sunnah is sunnah. Sunnah will remain sunnah. Whether science proves it or science disapproves, science is always behind. Science is always behind. Allahu Akbar. So, inshallah, we start. عن أبي هريرة رضي الله تعالى عنه أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: لولا أن أشق على أمتي لأمرتهم بالسواك مع كل صلاة. واللفظ له رواه البخاري واللفظ له ومسلم إلا أنه قال عند كل صلاة، والنسائي وابن ماجه وابن حبان في صحيحه إلا أنه قال مع الوضوء عند كل صلاة. رواه الإمام أحمد وابن خزيمة في صحيحه وعندهما لأمرتهم بالسواك مع كل وضوء. There's two different narrations here. One narration states that the miswak must be done at the time of salah. Must be done at the time of salah. The complete narration mentions that it must be done at the time of wudu. Okay? So there's some scholars, like for example, Imam Shafi'i, one of the great scholars of Islam, one of the great Salaf al-Salihin. We have to mention Salaf al-Salihin all the time nowadays. Okay? Because of people, they start thinking, who is the Salaf? Salaf is Imam Shafi'i. Salaf is Imam Abu Hanifa. Salaf is Imam Malik. Salaf is Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal. You understand? These are the Salaf. So, without these, there is no such thing as Salaf. Without these four A'immatul Arba'a, who's the most accepted out of all of the Tabi'een and the Atba'ul Tabi'een, without them, there is no such thing as the word Salaf anymore. Do you understand? Because what is given to us from heritage, from generation to generation, is their ilm, is their knowledge of fiqh, their understanding of Quran and Hadith. So here, we got two narrations. One narration mentions that at the time of every salah, and another mentions that you must make miswak at the time of every wudu. Okay? Both of them are correct. Both of them is how you understand them. Okay? One understands them literally. Imam Shafi went on the literal approach. He said, okay, we do it at the time of wudu as well as the salah. Okay? At the time of wudu as well as the salah. Imam Abu Hanifa, he understood it in the way of you do it at the time when preparing for salah. You understand? You understand the interpretation? How he understood the hadith. He's practiced upon both the hadiths. Both. Okay? But he's understanding it in a way that both of them are incorporated into one another. Okay? At the time of wudu, if you do it, you're doing it for salah anyway. Isn't it? You're doing it for salah anyway. So your niyyah for salah, for making miswak for the salah, will be accepted through that wudu. Okay? Khair inshallah. As long as you understand it. وعن عائشة رضي الله تعالى عنها أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال, the reason why Imam Abu Hanifa says not to do it at the time of salah, like when you're standing for salah, literally for salah, you don't do miswak. Why? Because if you start bleeding, if your gums start bleeding, if you do it hard, then and your blood comes out, according to his madhab, your blood will, if you can taste the blood inside the mouth, your wudu will be broken. You understand? The reason why Imam Abu Hanifa says no, not at the time of salah, not at the time when you're standing for salah, you don't start making miswak. Okay? The reason why he says it, you have to understand the reasonings why he says things. Okay? Ilm of fiqh is to do with how to take the illah from the hadith. What's the reasoning behind? What's the reason why Rasulullah gave the command? You understand? What's the reason why Rasulullah gave you such a command? Now, if you understand the reasoning behind it, you can come up with your conclusions. Okay? Of course, through the adillah of the hadith, not without the adillah of the hadith, with the adillah of the hadith, in order to collaborate both of them together, corroborate both of them together. Because you can't take one hadith and leave the other hadith out. It's going to be problematic. You understand? You have to interpret the hadith in such a way that you're encompassing both frames of hadith. Okay? خير إن شاء الله. وعن عائشة رضي الله تعالى عنها أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال السواك مطهرة للفم مرضاة للرب. Here Aisha رضي الله عنها تعالى عنها reports from Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم, the miswak is a purification for the mouth, for the smell of the mouth, for the bacteria of the mouth. It's a purification. Of course, another problem is if you do it at the time of salah, then what happens? All the bacteria from your teeth and your gums are on the miswak. You didn't wash it. It becomes disgusting. It becomes smelly. Isn't it a problem? Hygienic problem. So Imam Abu Hanifa is also took that into consideration as well. So at the time, this is why he says at the time of wudu, preparing for salah, not at the time of salah. You don't do miswak at the time of salah. Before, meaning when preparing at the time of wudu for the salah, that's the time you make miswak. That's the time you make miswak. Hygiene issues. Hygiene issues. Okay? As-siwaku matharatun lil fam. The miswak is a purification for your mouth, for the smell of the mouth, for the bacteria of the mouth. Mardatun lirrabb, and it pleases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not only it cleanses the mouth, it makes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala happy. If you want to make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala happy, make sure you don't have bad odor coming out of your mouth. Okay? And if you can do it with the miswak, then inshallah you'll see the hadith is even much more reward. That salah that is prayed with doing miswak, meaning at the time of wudu, if you do miswak for that salah is multiplied in reward approximately 70 times. 70 times more reward. That same salah that you're going to pray, you're going to get 70 times multiplications of reward for that same salah. Allahu Akbar. Next hadith. So this hadith is in رواه البخاري. Okay. وعن شريح بن هانئ قال قلت لعائشة رضي الله تعالى عنها بأي شيء كان يبدأ النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا دخل بيته قالت بالسواك. رواه الإمام مسلم. Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha was told by one of the tabi'een that what was the first thing Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam used to do when he entered the house? She said he used to start off with making miswak. Why? Because he knows before, when he comes into the house, he must be smelling good for his wives. I'm saying it nicely, okay? If you go into the house smelling, what's going to happen? It's going to deter your wife. It's going to abhor your wife. Do you want that? Does anyone like that? If your wife was smelling, would you like it? There you go. There you go. That's your answer. Just like you don't want your wife to be smelling, you must make sure that you're not smelling. Your mouth is not smelling, your body is not smelling, your clothes are not smelling. All three. Okay? It's very important. Okay? This hadith is in Imam Muslim. So whenever every single time he used to enter the house, or before he entered the house, he made sure that his teeth are clean, shining, and not smelling. وعن ابن عباس رضي الله تعالى عنهما عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال لقد أمرت بالسواك حتى. Nowadays we got chewing gum. if you can't use the miswak, at least you got chewing gum to replace it. Don't, at least make sure that your mouth is not full of odor. Otherwise the malaika will run away. The angels of mercy that are supposed to be with you and protecting you at all times, they're going to run away from you because you're smelly, you're stinky. They don't want to be next to you. Just like a normal person doesn't want to be next to you, the malaika of rahmah don't want to be next to you. The angels of mercy don't want to be next to you. Likewise. So, وعن ابن عباس رضي الله تعالى عنهما, especially now in summer, people neglect these things. Okay, every single day you should be having a shower at least. 30 degrees. How could you not be having a shower? Huh? Some people are scared of the water or something. Scared of soap, scared of shower gel, scared of, what do you call? Antiperspirant sprays. عن ابن عباس رضي الله تعالى عنهما عن النبي صلى الله عطر. Perfuming yourself is one of the most important things. Huh? Performing yourself is one of the great sunnahs of Jummu'ah salah as well. Huh? So make sure you perfume yourself as well. قال لقد أمرت عن ابن عباس رضي الله تعالى عنهما عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال لقد أمرت بالسواك حتى ظننت أنه ينزل علي فيه قرآن أو وحي. الله أكبر. Here, Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu reports that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, I was commanded to make the miswak to the extent that I thought wahi was going to come down or Quranic verse will come down. Quranic verse will come down regarding the miswak. Imagine Rasulullah thought, because there was so much encouragement from Jibreel alayhi salam, that he thought maybe a Quranic verse will be revealed regarding miswak. Allahu Akbar. رواه أبو يعلى وأحمد ولفظه قال لقد أمرت بالسواك حتى خشيت أن يوحى إلي فيه شيء ورواته ثقات. We'll stop here inshallah. We'll carry on with the virtues of miswak and then on to some of the virtues of washing between the toes and the fingers. Washing between the fingers and the toes. Because you have to make sure at the time of wudu that you're cleaning between the fingers. This is another great sunnah. Another great sunnah. A person cannot be a true Muslim without loving the sunnah of Rasulullah. Whether it's miswaak, whether it's making the wudu thoroughly, in whichever way. A person cannot. Why? Allah said it. قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهَ فَاتَّبِعُونِي يُحْبِبْكُمُ اللَّهُ. Allah gave you the answer. You want to love Allah? Follow Rasulullah. You don't follow Rasulullah, you can't love Allah. It's fake love. It's fake love. Cannot be true. خير إن شاء الله. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.